Hey, does anybody remember this game? Sonic Colors Ultimate? A remaster of the original Sonic Colors that came out 12 years ago on the Nintendo Wii? No? You don't remember this game? Well, that sucks, but honestly, I can't blame you, and I don't think many others would either. Because in hindsight, it's a very underwhelming example of what a remaster is. It's still a more ideal solution for those who never experienced the original Sonic Colors on the Nintendo Wii, but it could have been better. It deserved better. But the fact it had a rough development cycle and a terrible post-launch debacle, especially with the SEGA glitches on the Nintendo Switch version, didn't exactly help its case, so it's no surprising that its engines fizzled out quickly. I don't know the exact number of people that are still playing this game on PC, but I bet you that it ain't a very flattering amount. The fact that it's out only on Epic Games right now and not Steam is another thing that didn't help the game's reception, because Epic Games, as far as I understand it, isn't terribly popular with the PC gaming community. I've never played any games from Epic Games myself, but from what little I've read about it, it's very anti-consumer. And I think I remember people complaining about its launcher also, or something like that. Generally, Steam is the preferred platform for PC gamers, but Colors Ultimate is nowhere to be found on Steam, at least not right now. There are apparently plans to release the game on Steam later, a little over a year after its original release, which, in my opinion, is kinda poor timing, but it's something. This according to an update from Katie Chris, social media manager for the Sonic brand. Colors Ultimate is still planned for a Steam release, but there are no details on when exactly it will make the jump. Of course, that's assuming that there's still any interest in this game by the time that happens. Personally, I still have a blast playing through Colors Ultimate, but there are a lot of things working against the game right now. A terrible launch, very limited post-launch support as its last update was back in December 2021 with the Celebration Pack. If you're wondering, its content included cosmetics based on the new year, some bug fixes, although which ones that were fixed were never specified, and there's still some left lying around. And it added the quality of life features like a soundtrack toggle and the ability to turn off the boost blur or leave it on. So it was definitely a step up the ladder, but as you can see in this clip, there's still more work to be done, but it's not looking likely that we'll see that work being done in the near future. For that matter, Sonic Origins is kind of in a similar situation. It hasn't been out for nearly as long as Colors Ultimate has been, and it has had an update recently, but SEGA hasn't done anything more with Origins since August, which is when its last update was dropped. Version 1.04 to be specific. But to be fair, they are gearing up for the launch of Sonic Frontiers, so if that's their reason for pulling back on their post-launch support for Origins as of now, I can somewhat forgive that. Somewhat, I strongly stress. After all, Origins is a collection that features 4 of the most iconic titles in gaming history, both for Sonic and in general. These games deserve the utmost respect and treatment from its creators. And while some will tell you that this collection offers a fun experience, which it does, I strongly agree with that statement, the fact remains that it still feels incomplete, similar to Colors Ultimate. And there's more that can be done with it still. But from a recent survey floating around, SEGA may be planning to apply a content update similar to what was done with Sonic Mania. As for Colors Ultimate though, I don't have much hope for it receiving further support post-launch. Maybe when the Steam release happens, it'll then be the most refined experience of the game. Because by now SEGA ought to be aware of everything that went wrong with the game on all the other platforms that it's already released for, and so they'll make some adjustments, so it'll be the most refined experience you'll get when playing it on Steam. Better yet, they could bring all the other versions of Colors Ultimate in line with the Steam version to equalize the experience across the board. But something tells me that SEGA tends to settle for doing the minimum, usually. So honestly, I don't know what all's going to happen when they finally decide to get around to bringing Colors Ultimate to Steam. But it does mean one thing at least. The more platforms they bring the game to, the more exposure that it will get. Though you can probably pick apart that statement as technically it's releasing on the same platform, and that is PC. Epic Games and Steam are extensions of the PC gaming platform. But it's something, right? My own playtime with Colors Ultimate has decreased substantially, but being a YouTuber, I blame it more on me spending more of my time making videos than doing other things. That said, I do devote my free time to playing other games, Sonic or otherwise. And sadly, Colors Ultimate hasn't been a common selection for me recently. But to be fair, I'd already played the original, but I didn't get to finish it until 2020, so I'm a latecomer to the Colors hype, but I really do love this game, and so I had a lot of expectations for the Ultimate Remaster, and many of them were not met. The most that it accomplished was overhauling the visuals, for the better in some cases, and for the worse in others. For a tropical resort! Also added in some remixes, some of which were great, others which disappointed me. The Starlight Carnival remix I've somewhat warmed up to since I first listened to it, but I still think it doesn't beat out the original by a long shot. In other cases, the newer soundtrack was godlike, Planet Wisp at 1 and the final boss theme in particular. Oh man, if you haven't given those a listen yet, you missing out bruh. They also added in a new Wisp, the Jade Wisp, also known as the Ghost Wisp. It allows you to go right through walls and make it to areas that are otherwise kinda tricky to reach, and it also takes out enemies. But with the stage being mostly, if not completely, the same as they were by design on the Wii version, this didn't add a whole lot to the gameplay, which was really disappointing. You can also race against Metal Sonic in the newly added Rival Rush mode, and it's surprisingly a challenge as Metal Sonic is definitely no pushover. You might find yourself sweating these out at least until you master them. Out of all those changes though, this next one was easily the biggest improvement to the gameplay experience for me. And it's the fact that they buffed Sonic's homing attack. Whenever you timed it correctly, you would get more boost gauge. This was huge, because unlike in Sonic Generations, where boost meter was given out like candy, it was much harder to come across in the original Sonic Colors, as you got it either by breaking Wisp capsules or beating specific enemies, not just any enemy. The addition of the Rainbow Homing Attack, as I like to call it, made things so much smoother, and is single-handedly the one change that keeps me from going back to my Nintendo Wii version. It's that convenient. Oh, and as for the cutscenes, they just upscaled them, that's all. They didn't do anything to bring them in line with the quality of the rest of the game, so it made you feel like you were playing two different versions of the same game, honestly. Felt very jarring. For anybody who's already played Sonic Colors, this will feel like an underwhelming remaster, and a tease. I mean, if it could do things like improve the homing attack, give us a Metal Sonic mode, among whatever else, that tells me they could have gone much further with this remaster without pushing themselves into the territory of a remake. In fact, I think I've heard rumors that Metal Sonic was going to be playable originally, but then they scrapped the idea. And for God's sake, we're living in the 2020s. Why are we still getting games without online multiplayer? Origins? Colors Ultimate? Come on, bro. Really? But don't get me wrong. This game does still offer a fun time, especially for those who never played the original Colors. At its core, it's still one of the better Sonic games. I don't know about it being one of the best, but it definitely offers a great experience, and I still recommend it to anybody watching this video, whether it makes it over to Steam or not. When it comes to remaster but are executed very well, Colors Ultimate definitely isn't a shining example of that, at least figuratively. If you look at it literally, that may be a different story because it certainly is shiny thanks to all the bloom. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't resist the urge, but the point still stands. But whether the remaster was well done or not, it still needs to make it over to Steam. So SEGA, we're waiting! And that'll do it for this update video. It kinda doubled as sort of a mini review for Colors Ultimate, but I'm going to save that for another video. For now, I'll see y'all next time. If you enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts with your likes and comments below, and don't forget to sub and ring that bell. We're getting pretty close to 3,000 subs, aw man! That'd be the biggest Halloween treat I'd ever get if we can actually hit that mark before the end of October. Imagine that. But yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Take care, and don't forget, blue blurs for life. Peace out.